Sport and Concert Complex for the Women's Gymnastics Individual Event Finals. Hi everyone, I'm Bart Connor, and the team competition is over as well as the all-around. Today, we're getting ready to see the best gymnasts perform in their best events. And I'm joined, as always, by Kathy Johnson. Now, Kathy, this is really an exciting day in women's gymnastics.
It always is, Bart, because the stress of the team and individual all-around competition is behind them, and now they can just relax a little bit. Though they're still competitive, they're more accustomed to this equipment. They've been on it for 3 days. We usually see just outstanding gymnastics because they're a little bit more relaxed.
Let's talk about two of the stars of the competition, obviously, Chandler and Dina Kochekova. They battle it out in the all-around. They're going to have an opportunity to battle it out here today in 4 events. They have both qualified for all 4 individual event finals.
And they're certainly the favorites still in all 4 of the event finals. But don't forget, there are outstanding gymnasts here, and they're all in their specialties. So it's going to be really close for gold, silver, and bronze.
Let's take a look at who we'll be seeing here today in the competition. There will be 8 gymnasts on each event. They qualified here from the team competition. No more than 2 gymnasts from any one country. Now, the judges in this competition require a higher level of difficulty. Gold, silver, and bronze medals will be awarded in 4 events: the vault, the uneven bars, balance beam, and the floor exercise. The first event in the 4 individual apparatus finals tonight is the women's vault competition. And the first performer, Oksana Chusovitina, from Uzbekistan. She, by the way, won the gold medal in the 1990 Goodwill Games in Seattle, the only returning medalist from those games, and she is one powerful vaulter, Kathy.
And Bart, the key to winning this individual event is having 2 different strong vaults. And Chusovitina has just that. That's her first of 2 vaults. Front pike with a half twist. It's worth a 9.9. Notice how strong her push is off the horse. Nice form. Just a little hop backwards on the landing. She's a little bit on the front side of the horse. I've actually seen her get up on top a little bit more and just blast it. But still, this is one of the strongest vaults you'll see in the competition. There you could really see how short she was on the horse.
There will be 2 vaults for Chusovitina. The scores will be averaged. After a slight delay in the scores, 9.687 for Chusovitina on her first vault. That was a maximum value of a 9.9. She will perform her second vault. Those 2 vaults will be averaged. And as you mentioned, Kathy Johnson, the 2 vaults have to be from different families, different styles of vaulting. That's
what really makes this event so difficult, because you'll see most gymnasts perform one or the other in the all-around competition in the team, and they're 2 entirely different techniques.
She came into this competition ranked 6th.
Sukahar with a full twist in laid-out position. That's also worth a 9.9. Now, there is an advantage to the gymnast who performs 2 10-0 vaults, but still they must be performed perfectly to win.
She certainly nailed this one, didn't she?
This is a difficult vault to do. Even though it's been done for quite a long time. Mary Lou Retton performed it in the Olympic Games in 1984 to win her gold medal in the all-around, but to this day, it's one of the more difficult vaults because it requires so much power. Most of the gymnasts now are doing the round-off entry vault, which gives many gymnasts power they don't have in a traditional vault.
We talked earlier about Chusovitina's style, and her power really reminisces of Mary Lou Retton, who also went out of the frame when she did her powerful Sukahara-style vault.
You can see here she really gets on top of the horse, which is exactly what you need to do for the timing of the push. And she gets great distance from the horse.
9.706 the score for Chusovitina on her second vault. They will take the average of those 2 for her total here. This is Grushkova. This is Kochetkova, Dina Kochetkova, the Goodwill Games all-around champion.
Very nicely done, and I have to tell you, I was nervous for her. She could not get this down in the 30-second warm-up. She was very upset about that. In fact, she crashed on one. Certainly a safe landing, but it gave her her worries going into the competition. She could not get her hands on the horse, but now you can see she's right up on top, does the full twist. This is worth a 9.8 in the code of points. And I know her heart was pounding right here. Just get your hands on, get your hands on. She's a little short on the front end of the horse, but so much better than in the 30-second warm-up. She's got to be pleased. See, right there you can see, right on the front end.
Barely got her hands on.
She missed it entirely in the warm-ups.
9.8 was her score in the preliminary competition. No scores carry over here. The superior judge, Marilyn Cross, trying to get the computer system organized. 9.60 was the score for Kochekova on her first vault. 9.696, the average for Chusovitina. That's the score to beat at this point.
This is the vault she normally performs in the all-around competition. She's much more comfortable with it, as you can see. Answering front pike with a half twist.
If she were to score more than a 9.792, she could take the lead here over Chusovitina.
This is a very strong vault for her. Beautiful height, good distance, and she's so great at the landing. It was really the key to her success in the all-around competition, is the fact that she could stick almost every single landing in the competition. And when you're winning by thousandths of a point, that counts.
Third in the all-around at the World Championships behind Shannon Miller, but she got the gold in the all-around here. 9.693, the second score for Kochekova. The third vaulter here in the individual event finals will be Lilia Podkopaeva from Ukraine. The average for Kochekova was a 9.646 in second behind Chusovitina.
Watch this vault. Very few gymnasts perform this vault as well. Her technique on this vault really is superb. The most impressive part of the vault is her perfectly straight body line and the timing of the push right here off the horse. And she's completely straight, locked out in that position.
No one does it that well.
That's a difficult landing, and she does it remarkably well, Bart.
How do you explain, as all the young ladies had difficulty with the landing, she seems to nail it? It's a good technique, isn't it? 9.862, the score for the first vault for Podkopaeva.
And she has two very dynamic vaults. Look at that for the second vault. This is how you win a vault competition. That vault is worth a 9.9, just like the previous one. Well, actually, the previous one was worth a 10. So she has a 10.0 vault and a 9.9 vault of maximum values. That's superb going into event finals. And she does the vault so technically perfect and maintains gorgeous form throughout, keeping her legs perfectly together.
It's really one of her trademarks. All the apparatus, she uses incredible form and technique. Podkopaeva. Shannon Miller will be vaulting shortly for the United States. From the United States, already a winner of the silver medal in the all-around competition here at the Goodwill Games, Shannon Miller. The score, by the way, for Podkopaeva on her second vault was a 9.831, giving her an average of 9.846. That vaults her into first place.
Shannon's performing a Yurchenko vault, the round-up entry vault for her first one. And it's a laid-out Arabian front somersault. And what makes the vault so difficult and why it has such a high rating is because it's so difficult to land and to maintain that perfectly straight body position in the air.
Shannon has qualified several times for the finals at major international events on the vault and has really struggled. She did win a medal in '93, but otherwise she's been 6th, 7th, and 8th place because she doesn't really have two strong vaults, and I think we'll see evidence of that today. Her first vault is terrific. Her second vault is a little shaky.
It'll have to rely a little bit on luck, Bart, the second vault, but this one is great. Just a step on the landing. We've seen several gymnasts perform this vault. We know how difficult it is to land, and we've seen one good landing so far, Podkopaeva.
Steve Nuno, Shannon's coach.
This This is great technique, though, right up on top of the horse. Again, look how close her legs are together. She almost lands with her feet perfectly together. Just unfortunately has to take that step.
Yesterday in an interview, Shannon Miller said the fact that she's taller and slightly heavier has helped her, and perhaps this is an event where that shows.
Absolutely. It gives her a little bit more power, a little bit more action off the board.
Being taller and slightly heavier is a disadvantage on nearly every event except maybe the vault. 9.837 the score for Shannon Miller on her first vault out of a maximum of 10. Now this second vault, this is going to be interesting. She's warming up a rather unusual vault, something she tried at the World Championships in Australia and had major difficulties with.
It's similar to the vault we just saw, minus the round-off entry.
If she would score, excuse me, if she would score more than a 9.855, she could go ahead of Chusovitina of Podkopaeva.
The good news is this vault is worth a 10. The bad news is it's a little risky for her, but she did it. Great. Oh, look at the smile on her face. It didn't work that well in Australia, so she's really excited about this. Notice it is the same vault, per se, once she leaves the horse. It's exactly like the previous vault. She doesn't quite stay in that laid-out position, so that'll be a slight deduction. And she took the step, but she is thrilled to be on her feet. It's a tough vault. It takes so much more power to do this traditional entry vault without the round-off, because keep in mind that round-off gives you additional power into the horse, and she has to generate this power all by herself. That's great.
Shannon Miller will be pleased with that one. The score for the second vault of Shannon Miller, 9.812. Her average, a 9.824, which puts her in second place right now behind Podkopaeva. Now from Romania, this is Ana Maria Bican, and she's a very powerful vaulter, Kathy.
This first vault's worth a 10.0. Double twisting, Yurchenko.
What a landing.
Oh, the amazing thing in the code of points, the vault we just saw Shannon perform had a half twist in it, and though the landing is extremely difficult, it's 1.5 more twists in this vault, yet it's worth the same.
Doesn't make sense to me. Does it make sense to you?
The only thing that is easier about this vault is if you get around, which is the hard part, you can then see the ground, and it's a little easier to come up with a great landing. But to learn the vault is incredibly difficult, Bart. It takes extraordinary technique because there's so much that needs to happen before the ground comes up and hits you, and it comes fast.
9.825 the score for Ana Maria Bican on her first vault. Could have been a little higher. I thought she might score much higher on that vault as well. Perfect technique and an excellent landing. That means if she were to score a 9.687, more than a 9.687, she could move into the lead here. Podkopaeva still holds the lead.
Unfortunately, that's a weaker vault. She did it well, but it's only worth a 9.8, so that puts her at a slight advantage before the judges even begin to take deductions.
She said this is her favorite event. Is it perhaps because she has so much power here?
Absolutely. I'd love the event, too, if I had that much power. Good landing again.
9.731 the score on the second vault for Ana Maria Bican from Romania. Svetlana Parkina, silver medalist, as you see here at World Championships this year on the vault. And Kathy, we were so impressed. She's 5 feet 4 inches tall, was one of the favorites in the all-around, had a mistake on the balance beam, and wasn't able to compete in the all-around session. So perhaps today she is here for a little revenge. She could win a medal here.
This vault's worth a 10, and it's outrageous. A lot of twisting, a lot of flipping.
Interestingly enough, we've talked about the fact that she's 5 feet 4, even taller than Svetlana Boginskaya. Notice the technique on the landing. She even used Boginskaya's 1 foot in front of the other technique to nail the landing.
She had a little elegance to the vault. It's a round-off entry vault. She does a half twist onto the horse, half twist off, and a back pike somersault.
Pretty complicated.
Very complex, Bart. But she does it so well. It requires just an amazing timing and knowing exactly where the horse is so that you can block off and get all of that done in the afterflight.
9.862 the score for Horkina on her first vault. Keep in mind, in first place right now, Podkopaeva. More than a 9.83 on the second vault would give Horkina the gold. She is the last performer of 8 here in the finals.
Bart, you look at her body, you would never figure her to be a world-class gymnast. It'd be like looking at Muggsy Bogues out on the street and assuming he's